Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ponytails podcast. My name is Andres Gamboa. I am one of the hosts of the show. I'm excited for today's episode. We have Bob Brow on the show with us today. Super exciting on this Easter Sunday. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff, getting deep. I was getting to know him a little bit on the back in the back room in the green room while we were waiting. But again, this is the Ponytails podcast. Before we bring Bob on the air, I'm going to give you guys a couple of announcements. Starting with this next weekend, we're going to be in Nashville. I will be in Nashville with Heather Dutton on April 22nd. That's a Friday at 6 p.m. at Lee McCroskey's house. We're launching our beer. So we're going to have a beer tasting. You guys can come. There's a cider, there's an IPA, there's a stout. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be pretty delicious. And so if you want to come to that, all you got to do is RSVP. The link will be on the description of this video. And if you're listening to the audio, it's on the description of the audio on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Cast. It's also on our Instagram. So, or you can just message us. We'll get it to you. Just make sure you reach out to us if you're willing to or wanting to attend. The first 40 people that sign up are going to go. I think we have already like 15 or 16. I can't remember exactly. I didn't think to check before we went live, but that's the first thing that we wanted to share with you guys and for you to be ready. Second thing, and again, this is a BIZZLER update. If you haven't heard a show, we keep doing these every single episode, just in case you skip episodes and listen to a couple. But BIZZLER update, there's a new way to sign up for BIZZLER. If you haven't heard, that one's also on the description, on the link in the description of the episode. So just scroll down. There's a thing that says BIZZLER update. Click here. If you don't know what BIZZLER is, on August 15th through the 19th, we're going to be going to Mexico, to Cancun, for just a trip to hang out with alumni and have fun at the beach. So it's about $1,500 per person. The deadline to register to guarantee a spot with us and hanging out with us in the rooms and stuff that in our place is going to be May 1st. So it's actually coming up here soon in a couple of weeks. Make sure you guys take advantage of that, because after that, the rates are going to go up and we cannot control or guarantee that we can get you in with our group. So please be sure to go and sign up right now. All you have to do is get your flights booked. It's the only thing that requires a down payment, or even a $50 down payment will get you in. Just keep in mind the flights will keep getting more expensive as it goes up. So that $1,500 could also change since the date is approaching quickly. However, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our friends over at Elevate Wellness, because they are helping us get ready for our BIZZLER trip. And so I'm super excited to continue to work with them. Seth and Zane have been doing a lot of good stuff. They're growing. I think they've grown into multiple coaches, but these are the guys that are helping us get in shape in a healthy way. Mainly, actually, the biggest thing and the biggest way of focus, besides just like the workouts, is the healthy choices when I'm at the grocery store. So most people start, they don't really end up going all the way out to eat and eat healthy and changing that habit in their life. And so they kind of lose track and they start going back to, the fast food stuff. But if you ever struggle to have a really good idea of like what workout plans to do, they have it for all sorts of ages, all sorts of different body compositions. It doesn't matter where you're at. What matters is to get started and to have a really solid accountability plan. So they're super studly at helping us get into shape. Making sure that you're eating correctly, making sure that you're working out correctly. Our team has been using them for months, and we've just been seeing really good results. So get in touch with us before before BIZZLER, or for your upcoming Sizzler, or if you just want to get in shape for the summer. Make sure you elevate your body, your mind, elevate your life with Elevate Wellness. We are excited for that. Also, we are brought to you guys by Will Metcher. Now, we love Will. He's working with Southwestern Consulting, and he's actually been our coach since January. Our team has been meeting up with him regularly. It's been really helpful for the clarity of our group. But if you're like me, one of the big things that you might miss about Southwestern is actually the ability to kind of make an impact on people. The recruiting part and the changing people's lives was what's important to me anyway. The reason why book people are so unique is because there were college students that were helping other college students learn and grow and guiding them through their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. The things that they might not learn until then. So if you want to be the kind of person that just really impacts people, that changes their lives and helps them improve and believe in themselves, then you need to work with Will. Unless you live under a rock, you're probably not aware of, you're probably aware of what Southwestern Consulting is. But the cool thing is that Will is one of the most successful coaches, and he's working with us. He's such a cool guy. I love working with Will. So he's actually looking for people to help him and to work with him. So every one of the coaches that has been working with Southwestern Consulting has earned over 6 figures and built a pretty cool career, creating a lasting impact on people and helping people stay accountable. So make sure you guys do that. If you need to work with Will, reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with him. And I cannot over recommend that. He's an amazing human being and a great, great friend, and a good mentor to us. So that is the beginning announcements. We'll have some more announcements as we go. But now it's time to bring our friend Bob Brown. Now, before I bring him on, one of the things that I want to say, a couple of things of introduction. So Bob sold in 1982, and I'm excited to hear because one of my favorite things about this show is being able to connect with people who did the same thing that we all did, and regardless of when we did it or how we did it, they're just having that thing in common. And so he sold from 1982 to 1985. And he went to school in Cortland, which is in New York. He's from New York. We're going to get into being from New York. I'm so excited because I sold in upstate New York. And so I love New York in all its entirety. And also, this is important because our pony story for today is going to include the aspect that we don't really talk about much on the show, but it's always interesting when it does. Last time we did this was with Sarah Goss, and it talks a little bit more about finding your faith on the book field. And so I'm excited to hear that happened to me. It's something, it's not meant to get preachy, but to some people that is an important part of their life, and it came oftentimes from the book field. For me it happened, and for Bob it also happened. So I'm excited to hear about that. Stick around for the ponytail so that way we can end at a very, very awesome note on this Easter Sunday. So I'm going to bring him on the air. Here we go. Boom. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Andre.
How's it going?
Good. Great.
Hey, welcome to the show. This is such a fun thing that we get to do.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a very slight introduction, just because we don't want to give up. We don't do pre-approach on this show, and I've never met you before until about 15-20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I love meeting people.
Oh man. So are you currently in New York? Are you coming us? No, that's right. You told me where you're coming from.
Yeah, Indianapolis, Indiana, Zionsville to be specific. We're on the northwest side of Indianapolis.
Wow. So, all right, let's dive in. We always like to start in two different ways. We either start with how you got into Southwestern, but lately we've been getting more into what you're up to now, because it kind of tells the story as it goes along. So, what are you doing in Indianapolis? What are you up to nowadays? What gets you out of bed?
Oh man, I tell you, I can't wait to get up every morning. That's not a cliche. I love it. My wife, I met her in Washington D.C. in 1994. And when we started, she's from Indianapolis, or excuse me, she's from Indiana, West Lafayette. And we got married in 95 and then moved out here in 98. Great place to raise the kids. We got 3 kids, and all 3 are out of college now. And so it's been a whirlwind, and lately it's settling down a little bit. So
absolutely, there was that flu going around the last couple of years. Did you hear about that?
We all got it.
Might have been on the paper.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I got it last July. It was rough. I lost some pounds. Not the
we
way
were lucky though.
Weight.
We were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
It didn't affect our business too much, so that was fortunate.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what do you guys do? What's your business? What's your day-to-day look like?
Well, I actually taught school a while ago. I wanted to help people. It was one of after I got out of Southwestern, I really, really, really wanted to help people. And so I said, what impact could I have? What's the biggest impact? So I thought, well, junior high kids. So I taught school for 4 years, middle school, math. And, but after coaching, going to grad school, mowing lawns to make ends meet. I was in the Washington D.C. area, Manassas, Virginia. I just said I don't think I could do this for the next 35 years. So I stopped teaching in 93, met my wife, and then came out here. And what we're doing currently, and been doing it for 22 years now, I started selling health insurance
Nice.
to self-employed individuals. And I did a lot of things between Southwestern and selling insurance. Never thought I'd do it, but it's been great for us. And I actually work with a guy who sold books, who lived with us one summer. So he lived with us in 2000, and then when he stopped around working, I don't know, 2007 or 8, he said, "Hey, they're going to ship me back to Wales. They're going to send me back to England. I lost my visa, and I how about if I come work for you? So Phil Martin uh, uh, gets me up in the morning every day. Well, my wife does, but so,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Man, that's so excellent. So this is actually quite up the alley of something that let's dig into this because actually I think this is a good topic, and you're the first person I think besides maybe Barry Hart who's in pharmaceuticals who's currently like doing health related things. I know Brendan Abernathy does like his company produces like medical equipment, but you're the first person I think we've had who does like full out health insurance. And here's something that like most people who go through Southwestern even today, they teach you how to run a business, quote unquote, right? The selling aspect of it and the recruiting aspect of it. But when it comes to like the legal aspect of it and like being an entrepreneur from that standpoint, not as much. So a lot of people move on and become self-employed, but they don't think, okay, where do I get health insurance? Where do I get dental insurance? Where do I get medical, like that kind of stuff? How important, would you say? I mean, we already know it's pretty important, but like what are some things that entrepreneurs need to know when it comes to like as entrepreneurs, getting those benefits because they don't have a W-9 or a W-2 job where it pays, that comes with the plan. What are some of the things they need to know, things to look out for, and what are the keys that your company provides to help them out with that?
sure. Well, I had health insurance for myself, all through college. When I got out of college, I was either under my parents or I worked for a corporation. And so when I quit teaching school, I think I was maybe 20, 28 or 29, and didn't think about it. And then when I told my dad I had no health insurance, he said, "You're going to get health insurance, period." So I got health insurance on my own. So that was the first time I wasn't into business. I didn't know what I was doing. All I did is the first person who came along, I said, "Sure, whatever. Just how much does it
Yeah.
cost?" And then when we had that kind of insurance, then our first child, my wife had the insurance. But then when we had our child, she stayed home, and now we had to get health insurance for a family, not just myself. And then she gets, she didn't get pregnant. She got pregnant again
Yeah.
for with our second
Y'all
child.
got
I
pregnant.
helped. Um, uh, she, we found out our health insurance was terrible, and we were scrambling. Joy was 5 months pregnant. We're like, what do we do? And well, we got to go to a birthing center and no epidurals and all these things. And no, it was not good, and that was really nerve wracking. And so I was real fortunate. Ended up getting a corporate job in Indiana, and the insurance kicked in on April 6th, and the baby was born April. Well, it was supposed to be due April 6th, the day the insurance kicks in. And I don't know if you know, but having a baby with no health insurance can cost $10,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
it all worked out. He came a week late, and so I didn't start selling health insurance until 2.5 years later. Um, and that was an experience that I didn't want anybody to have to go through. So we offer insurance to individuals and small businesses. So and Phil and I, we're both really good salespeople, but we became just super knowledgeable. So our knowledge uh, is that's where we just know everything about the policies and how they work and what they don't do, what they do, and so people, if you get cancer or you don't want to find out you have bad insurance after something happens. So
Right.
we just try to help people. We educate people. We're educators more than anything else.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's important. So let's get into some specifics. What are some common, because right now I probably have, our show probably has a bunch of listeners who are self-employed. And maybe this is something they either go, I already got health insurance because they were thinking like you and said the first person that came along,
Yeah,
right? Or the first website that they clicked on when they Googled it,
sure.
right?
Mhm.
So what are the most common mistakes that people make? And what should they look out for when shopping for health insurance? And
Sure.
I'm asking kind of for myself too.
No,
My
no,
health
it's
insurance is through my wife, through her
yeah.
work. But if she
Mhm.
ever does what you did, where your wife did, where she like kind of becomes self-employed, I actually want to know this myself. So
Yeah,
I'm asking for me.
absolutely. And I had to find out myself. That's, the experience. I had to go through the experience to figure it out. So most people are healthy, especially young people. When I say young people, 20s, 30s, they rarely go to the doctor, maybe once or twice a year at the most. And you frankly don't really even need health insurance for that. You can go to what we call doc in the box, or it's CVS has the Minute Clinic for little things. You don't even need health insurance, but most people get health insurance because they were used to going to the doctor only paying say $20 or $25. So they think they want a plan that'll cover a doctor appointment. Oh, I only want to pay, $50 for a yearly physical. Whereas if you pay for it out of your pocket, it might cost 400. But insurance might cost $150 a month. We're doing the math, and Phil and we like numbers. We're math guys. We just, well, $1,800 a year for one doctor visit. No, I don't want to do it. So you don't get it. So we always talk to them first about not what's happening today, because you rarely go to the doctor. You don't really need it today. It's what if. What if you have appendicitis? That's $30,000. So we always talk about, let's get a plan that covers that first, and then let's talk about how much that one costs. And that one might only cost $80 a month. And so we sell a lot of insurance. I think we save people around $1 million a year in premiums, because we don't sell the the full benefit package. We can and we will, but we usually start with people, say, have you considered this? They're like, no, I've never considered that. And so when people call us, they're like, holy cow, we just saved $5,000. And so and that's the kind of insurance I got for me and my family. And my son, he had open heart surgery. We knew he was going to have it eventually, because my third child was born with a heart condition. And so he was healthy though, no problems. But he had this heart thing, which, is inside. So we made sure we had insurance. I'm self-employed, had insurance that would cover the what if, the $250,000 thing. But we didn't really have very good insurance that covered just a little doctor visit, because it's like, we'll pay for that out of our pocket. But
Yeah.
$250,000 open heart surgery, which he had when he was 8, it cost us
wow.
$5,000, and then the rest of it was covered. So
That's
how we kind of look at things. Term
so
life
couple.
versus whole life.
Yes, I used to sell term life for Primerica.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of term life. There's so many things here. Hold on, there's so many avenues here. One, I had open heart surgery when I was 6.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I had ASD. ASD was a hole between the two atriums. Is what I was
He had
born with.
VSD.
Ventricular septal defect. Yeah, same thing, but just further down.
Yeah. Down
Wow.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a crazy experience, man. And people don't think about that. So there's the why. There's the why. So you're looking for a plan that kind of covers the bigger picture items, right? Because you're right. You can go to a clinic, pay $150, right, or whatever, and they'll I have a cough or whatever it is, and they do the thing. But you're looking to cover people for the big ticket items. Yeah, I mean, because there's like cancer insurance. Yeah, Globe Life Insurance sells like cancer insurance, and then there's also and they also sell some hospital insurance, like an ambulance, right? But there's also like the health insurance. And do plans cover like dental, vision, that kind of stuff too, or is it just straight health, or what do you guys cover?
Yeah, everything. I bought a cancer and heart attack, stroke, a policy from a Southwestern person. And what that is, we call those supplementals.
Yes.
So that might give me 5,000 or 25,000 if that's ever happened, which covers your, say, deductible, your high deductible. So health insurance would be something that covers the hundreds of thousands, the $1 million event, whereas the supplement, cancer, heart, whatever, stroke, might give you money, $5,000 or $10,000 toward that, but it won't cover the entire event.
The
So
bill,
same
right?
with dental. We like the preventive approach. So we really stress the inexpensive plan that covers cleanings twice a year. Because if you get into the dentist twice a year and got your teeth cleaned twice a year, and
You're
you're
gonna be okay.
average, you're probably fine. You don't need a fancy plan. Uh, and we also sell, or don't sell, but we recommend HSAs, health savings accounts, that you can put money into for future. And that would, like, for example, all three of my kids and my wife had braces in the last 10 years. Well, we pay for all of it. It was probably $25,000 of braces, and uh, because it was the money we didn't spend in premiums, we put that money into a savings account that was tax deductible. And number one, I'm not an accountant. I don't give out accounting advice. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give
Yes.
out law advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give out financial advice. I just do all of it on my own. And so I just telling you what I know.
No, and this is great. This is why we have experts on the show that, like, you know more about this than I do. And the health insurance industry is so messed up, especially with in the
It's
last
messed up.
decade. And it's so
Yeah.
crazy to know. So, we trust a book guy over anybody. And I'm telling you, there's people that are going to listen to this who are self-employed that probably don't have health insurance because Southwestern didn't teach them to go get self insurance when they started their own business, which is okay. It's at Southwestern.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is, so that again, so looking for things that cover the big events is
Yeah.
kind of the key that we're looking for. And if you are, what if you have like employees? Does that change as an entrepreneur what you should get for yourself, or does that change what you should do for your company? Do you look more into an HR company, or is that something that you guys also can handle?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Very good. We have a company. Actually, our office is in the Southwestern building down in Nashville. So we
Oh,
have
and
about,
on Landers Plaza.
yep, yep. So when Phil started, I was in Indianapolis, and Phil came on in 2000, again, 2007, 2008, and he said, "Hey, can I stay in Nashville?" And I said, "Sure. If you can do it, do it. You don't have to come up here." And so, what's really neat about Phil and our business is I'm really good at some things, but I'm not good at others. And I was a very good salesperson, but I was not a good recruiter, terrible recruiter. I signed up 14 people my first year, and one of them came, and he quit after a week.
I
So
see.
Phil, he's in Wales, and he's bringing these kids from England, like, hey, in an English accent. I can't do one, but you want to come over to America and sell books? I'm from New York. That's how I would say it. And straight commission, door to door, 80 hours a week. Sure. And so he brought 10, 20 kids over. And so he could recruit and retain. And man, I, I just, Phil does the things I can't do. And I'm good at, like, we also sell home and auto now. And
Mm.
nobody wanted to give us the contract. Well, I tend to wear people out. And so what I do, I find the guy's number and start talking. He goes, no, no, we don't want you. And I go, just hold it. And so I wouldn't take no for an answer. So, man, when we got
Have you not
our
heard
first,
about me?
say again?
Have you not heard about me yet? The second approach, the
Oh,
third.
yeah, no. So our very first one, I was leaving Nashville. I said, Phil, we have got to do this because health insurance is so unpredictable. We had to diversify. We needed to start another business. And so, and we thought, what's in something that our it's not tied to the federal government. Where when Obamacare came in, I have really good things to say about Obamacare. I help people get it all the time, and then there's other things that I don't like about it. But we knew that we didn't know from year to year if we would be in business for about a 6-year
Sure.
period. So we thought, let's start selling auto and home. We know nothing about that. So I was the one who had to get the contracts, and boy, I get in shouting matches a lot, but I'm nice.
I
So
understand that.
took 2 hours and a 2 hour road trip, and but he says, okay, we'll do it. And now we're like, I think that they're number one in the Tennessee. So yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's wild. Is
yeah.
Phil still in Nashville?
Yes. Are we in Nashville still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Phil still in Nashville?
Yeah, yeah. He's got a mansion in Nashville.
Well, you tell him that he's invited over to Lee McCroskey's house for a beer tasting this weekend,
He
next
would
Friday.
love that, and he'll
Yeah.
bring the good stuff if you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you guys the RSVP so you guys
Yes,
can come check it out. Yeah,
that'd be
absolutely.
great.
Would love to see if you could make it down too. By the way, I don't know if it might be a drive from Nashville, but
No,
or from
I go down
Indianapolis.
there all the
But
time. My
oh
wife and
yeah,
I will
come
be
on
in.
up.
I would love to. I would. But we'll be in Bermuda or Bahamas or I don't know.
I don't
Leaving
know if
on
Bahamas is
Tuesday.
as cool as Lee McCroskey's house, man. I'm just
It's a
kidding.
cruise, so we'll see.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. That's so
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, so as a person that wants to hire people for because this is an LLC, so my currently we're my health insurance and everything's under my wife's plans just because actually, well, she's with the workers union as a longshore
Mhm.
person here in Portland, and so I don't. I mean, it's hard. Like the it's insane. Like our health insurance covers it so that we have physical therapy 40 sessions, no copay.
Mhm.
We have like I think it covers like 85% of our dental. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's a
Keep
bananas.
that
But
as long as
eventually,
you can.
yeah, yes. But eventually she wants to like I mean from the plan is she's a by trade and by schooling, she went to school for psychology and
Mhm.
she's a counselor. And so eventually she wants to start her own practice because you can actually make more money as a counselor than as a longshore person and that they make a lot of money. So
Right.
when that jump is made, like we need to switch into a health insurance plan for the
Right.
company. And so if I'm a company, can I hire you out to and that way I can hire people and also provide them
Yeah,
benefits?
absolutely. And
Okay.
if for your situation, I would probably, if you don't have any employees except yourself and maybe your wife, um, I do recommend to help people get into the marketplace or slash Obamacare because that's one of the good things about it. It allowed people to branch out on their own, and if you didn't have a great financial year, then your health insurance was subsidized or is subsidized,
Mhm.
and a lot of times we can get free insurance. I we don't get paid anything for that or much, but I love again the goal. We have like 4,000 customers because our
Oh,
goal is always help people first, and you know we get paid extremely well. The insurance companies pay us, but we don't get paid for every plan that we get for people. But I've been doing it 22 years now, 20 years for my own business, and people call out of the woodwork. My first year, I bought $50,000 worth of leads and just pounded the phones, 16 hours a day, work Saturday, Sunday, um, uh, because straight commission,
yeah.
And I have
That's
three
what you got
kids.
to do.
I have three little kids, and I got my wife's at home. We got nothing, no income, nothing. I actually got fired from my. I was the number one. I worked for uh, a company called Golden Rule, who's owned by United Healthcare now, and I was their number one salesman for 2 years in a row. I never met anybody face to face; it was all over the phone. So I was good at just talking to people on the phone. But the reason I got fired was it was a call center, and they wanted people on and off the phone in an average of 12 minutes. And I'm like, I was 24 minutes average phone call. So I would talk and talk and talk and talk. They say, yeah, bro, you're just wearing people out and you're not following the script. I'm like, I'm not lying. I'm not swearing. I said, you should have everybody do what I do. And of course, when you start pointing your fingers at bosses, it doesn't work too well. So I said, let's fire me. And so, but I was their top
They
guy.
did.
So they kept me. And eventually they called me into the office after 2.5 years and said, well, Bob, you know, time to go. I said, I would have fired me anyway. And that's when I started my own thing. So 20 years later.
I love that. I
Well,
love that.
I don't recommend it. My youngest was, I don't know, two. I had a 3, and 5 year old. And my wife's, I come home and, honey. So that was,
That's hilarious.
what do we
Well, I mean,
do?
but it worked out. It worked out okay. It worked out
Well,
okay.
here's the thing. I got to tell you, selling books, you could drop me in the middle of any country and I would have made it somehow. And that's the thing is, it didn't even phase me. I was like, okay, I'll just do my own thing. I don't care. Now, I will say this: there's always there's fear and trepidations at times, but the confidence level, so what? Just you know,
What's next? Next door. The answer lies behind the next door. Let's
I
move
will
on.
tell you this: I didn't tell my dad because that's the one person I wasn't going to tell I lost my job. It's like I got to support you again. No, I was making really good money and I'd saved a lot, and so but I did, yeah, it did work out.
Yeah, clearly. That's awesome. I love that.
I've been lucky.
So here's what I'll say. So if people are listening to this, because again, the majority of our audience is like book people, and a lot of them are self-employed, and I guarantee you a chunk of them, if not maybe all of them, probably haven't thought about this well enough, and they don't know who to go to. But the fact that you're a book guy and that the way that you're approaching it seems very, very customer service, very like people first, just like a bookman would, then I feel like they're going to want to get a hold of you. So Health Quotes USA is the name of your company. They can probably just go to healthquotesusa.com, or can they email you? Can I give them the email that you have for us, or how can they get a hold of you if they have questions?
Just email. Go to Health Quotes. The good thing is if you go to healthquotesusa.com, it won't come to me. It'll go to the office, and so I don't have to do anything. I'm 60 now, so I like it when I don't have to do anything. No, I'm just kidding. They'll probably refer it back to me because it's like, hey, Bob, you do the ones that we don't make anything on. So you haven't made us money for 5 years. So all you do is cost us money. Don't wait, so call, just go to Health Quotes USA. We get a lot of Southwestern kids, people, men, women, who we've helped over the years. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We just don't, I'm not going to say we're busy enough, but we're never too busy for a Southwestern person, and that's no joke. We've housed kids. My wife's, a saint. She didn't sell books, but we got married in March, and then we were in Washington D.C. and no kids, But we were married in March, and then in May, 6 girls from California knocked on our door. Hey, you got a place? Can we stay with you? And I'm like, honey.
We got room, right?
6 girls from California. She goes, we just got married. I said, well, their parents, they want a safe place, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we try to move just so people, Southwestern won't find us. So, we're thinking about selling our house now just so they can't find us, Like,
get off the grid.
No. Yeah, get off the grid. Hey, can I tell you a real quick story?
Yeah, please.
Well, last year we thought it worked. See, in the old days, it used to be 615. When the 615 numbers would ring us, we just wouldn't answer. Well, people could be calling from all over the country now. So I kind of knew they were coming from Florida. So I know all the Florida. I'm good with numbers, so I knew all the Florida prefixes, so I wouldn't answer the phone. And we got a little lake house about an hour from here, and my wife's at work. Well, my wife gets a call from my neighbor because we weren't home. No one's home. We don't have kids at home anymore. So the neighbor goes, there's some girl here who says she's looking for you. So they tracked us down, and we only want to stay for one day, just tonight. And then 4 months later, and so
thanks for housing us.
Yeah. I tell you, the hardest thing was the first about 20 years of us doing this. It was really hard because I take it personal if someone didn't succeed. It was just so hard emotionally. I was taking kids to the bus station, the ones that didn't make it, and they were beating themselves up, and I was trying to help them, and it was. But the last few years, it's been a lot easier because I just don't. I'm like, I try to be. I'm not your mom or dad. I'm just offering a safe house. We're not taking anybody this year, okay? So just.
Yeah, if anybody listening, you're looking for an HQ in Indianapolis,
yes,
don't call Bob.
Don't call Bob.
Do not call Bob. And if you do, he's probably going to say no. but don't make him say no because that's rough.
I can't say no. So
So
we
don't
don't
call
plan
him.
on it. Yeah. So anyway,
Be nice. All
be
right. Well,
nice.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right. Well, so healthquotesusa.com. You guys can reach the company that does health insurance. If you're a home, if you're not, if you need homeowners insurance or if you need car insurance, but more importantly, if you need health insurance as an entrepreneur, or if you're looking to, if you're going to maybe provide benefits for your employees, they do it all. Make sure you guys get on healthquotesusa.com, and you can find Bob and his team there. That's solid. All right, now we can start moving into, what do you say we move into the whole book business part of it?
Yeah, yeah.
We wind the clocks back. I mean, I'm going to talk about my some of our partners really quick, and then we can head into that direction. I'm so excited about this. The bookstores, here they come. But the first people I want to shout out and give a big shout out to is Pat Roach. They do stuff with Southwest Real Estate, and of course there's a ton of industries out there: health insurance, life insurance, solar, real estate. There's a lot of lucrative industries out there, but most of them have pretty mediocre standards. Real estate is one of those where like 95% of the people that get registered about a year later, they're not even doing that anymore. They quit. For high turnover rate. With Pat, though, over the last 15 years since they started the company, they've grown it in the exact opposite way, where 95% of their agents actually stay with the company and end up making six figures pretty quickly. So real estate is a good industry. Hard to mess it up if you know what you're doing, and that's why they are doing such a good job. Is there's a solid path to success. It's been proven over the last 15 years. They kept the good parts of the culture of Southwestern, kind of get rid of all the negative parts of the culture of Southwestern. But it's a good place to go work. So if you guys are looking for something to do, it's 99% drama free, and you guys can get a hold of us. Pat will give you an interview if you sold books. Get an automatic interview with us or with them. Just reach out to us. And then of course I want to mention Martina Lucas. I got married this last February, Bob, and these guys did my wedding.
He hasn't
So I
left
was
yet. I'm just kidding. That's
yes,
what people say.
I pray every day she stays. I pray every day she stays. But when it came to the party, I knew I wanted to do a book person because you could trust somebody with the experience of having sold books, especially if they sold multiple summers. And Martina and Lucas, of course, are two book guys that are crushing it right now. The experience was super awesome. And if you have, for me, it was a wedding, but if you guys are throwing a party, for example, for us, the trip to Mexico, they're going to be coming there. If you have an awards banquet coming up, any sort of event that you need a solid DJ that you can trust, hit up Martina Lucas. Generally speaking, DJs don't have a pretty good rap for, having a good set or having a variety, but these guys are complete studs. A bunch of different types of music that they can play for you. Baroque, 90s, rock, EDM, you name it, they're there. Anything that's going to fit the vibe that you're looking for. So if you are looking for book people that are affordable and reliable, make sure you reach out to us. We can get you Martina Lucas set up at your next event. They did the Freddy's. They did my wedding. They can do it for you.
Do they go anywhere around the country?
Yeah, they travel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's a good question. If they travel, I paid for their flights out, but then that came out of the discount for the total price. And if you sell books, they'll give you a discount. So if you ever have an event, they will reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with them. They are super fun to work with. They're super punctual, very professional. And of course, again, they're book guys. So you kind of go, oh, I know something about you. I can trust you in a weird way. All right, Bob, let's wind the clock back. So let's go back to 1982. This is 40 years ago.
Yeah.
We're almost into the summer, so almost literally exactly 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Where the heck were you? What were you doing when someone came up to you and said, hey, what are you doing this summer? Or whatever it was for you.
Well, I had a friend. He was 2 years older than me, from my hometown, my high school. And so I was a sophomore in college, and I played baseball. I was a baseball player at Cortland. And but my dad, who very influential. My dad was pretty influential. I mean, he's no longer with us, but he said, I got to play baseball for a career. He was in the Korean War, but anyway. So he said, why don't you go interview with this guy, Greg Jensen? And Greg's out in Colorado. We're still great friends. And so I go to an interview over Christmas break, my sophomore year. And I come home and go, Dad, Mom, I think I'm going to do it. He goes, wait a minute. I didn't say you could do it. So I said, well, I'm going to do it, So that spring, and this kind of leads into some, I took a class in college called Philosophy of Religion. I wasn't a very religious person. We went to church, Easter, Christmas, blah, 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 maybe 10 times a year. But small town, upstate New York, Notre Dame highlights were on, way more important than church back then. So we didn't go. So to make a long story short, I took this class. I started thinking about things, but hey, I had to sell books. So I remember getting down to Nashville and back then, and even today, I guess, I don't know, but they gave us books to read. Dave Dean. In fact, I got this hat. Dave Dean knows this ministry here in Indiana. That's how I got hooked up with this, because Dave Dean. But anyway, you get down to Nashville and they give you these things to read. I wasn't a reader. I would just 100 miles an hour. But one of the things I read was Footprints in the Sand. And I thought, what is this? I'm from New York. What is this, a cult? What is this stuff they want us to read? Southwestern, they want us to memorize this sales talk? Come on. I'm tough, and so I carried a Vince Lombardi. Some people carried a Bible with them. I carried Vince Lombardi book. So because I'm like, I want to be tough as nails, and so what I can sell. No one has to tell me what to do, and I kind of don't like authority, So we down in Nashville. We find out we're going to California, Southern California, and I remember my mother said, "Make sure you wear your seatbelt." And the car I was in was a 1961 Ford Falcon, no seatbelts. So we drove to California with no seatbelts. No big deal. So we get out there, and we were real fortunate. Our headquarters was from a family who moved from Oklahoma, farmers, to Southern California. I mean, they're ma pa kettle. I mean, old, really old. And he couldn't hear. She was huge. Sorry, I'm huge, so you can't see the lower half. But their son was super successful. He sold books for Spencer way back in the
Spencer
50s.
Hayes.
Yeah, so their name was Cook. The last name was Cook. So anybody who, well, I'm 60, so these people would be 80. The people we lived with are 80. This is 40 years ago. So anyway, make a long story short, Southern California, I mean, come on. So, boy, the very first person I talked to was an apartment was in Santa Ana, California. So some of you Southwestern folks who might have sold in Santa Ana. All I know is the person who sold the year after I sold there hit President's Club like every week. So I didn't do, it was my first summer. But the very first house, I sold a 5-unit. I got like $3 or something. So it was not solid. But I was like, whoa, this is easy. Well, the next 14 hours, nothing, zero. Nothing. So I was dropped off every morning. We knocked at 7:59. I heard they knock later nowadays, but we knocked at 7:59. And then I was picked up 9:30. And, that first week, nothing except for the five units. And, but yeah, it was a rough neighborhood too. Got stopped by the police. Hey, what are you doing walking around here? Someone was murdered here last night. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, I'm just knocking on doors, having fun. So anyway, but what was great was I was close to selling, but I just couldn't close it. I didn't know how. And so Greg, student manager, he let me follow him, after the third or fourth day. And immediately after he did that, I was able to make a sale. So I probably had a couple sales for the first week, and then a little more after that.
Rough start, but that's okay. Just setting the habits.
Hey, I was a blockhead too, so you kicked in the head. But I was used to getting kicked in the head with sports, and all my coaches were Vince Lombardi types, and my dad was, he was a Korean War veteran, so
kind of tough, more rough around the edges type of environment.
Great guy though. Great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You turned out great, so that's good. Something good had to have happened. Absolutely.
Well,
that's That's wild. Somebody got murdered in
Yeah.
in the neighborhood you were in.
I was in, let's see, I was in a, I didn't realize it. I didn't know. I mean, gee, you know, the neighborhood
Oh my
wasn't the best
gosh.
neighborhood. What do I know? So,
You just see doors. You
yeah,
just go
lots of
knock
doors,
on the doors. I
lots
got
of
told to go
doors.
knock on the doors, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, just start
Oh
here. Here's a map. I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock. So
oh gosh.
we had a, my organization was, it was, let's see, Dave Causer. His
Mhm.
organization was called Superstars. And Dave recruited somebody from his college, Houghton College in New York,
Yep.
back in the 70s or something like that. So my sales manager was, his name was Dave Moore, and our organization was, you know, we didn't sell packages very well. I mean, my very best. Well, I'll give you an example. I can remember all this stuff. My third week out, I think I had 27 customers, which is good.
That's a
Like
solid week.
130 units.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, 27 customers, 130 units. I was the number one first year though. You know,
Yay.
yay! And the next week though, I changed territories. So they got me out of that territory. They're like, you need to go into a little better territory. And so now I'm talking houses, the mansions. To me they were
Mm.
mansions. 2-story brick, big, uh, but holy mackerel! Knock on the door and see you later.
Slam.
I didn't even get to do a door demo. I mean, we call them rich people. I'm like,
Yep.
wow. So, but the great thing was the things you learned were one of the things they told us all the time. Just keep going. Just don't skip any. Keep going. So I remember my first day in the rich territory. This was after 27 customers in a week, zero. But 9 o'clock at night, I got one, and 9:30 at night, I got a second one. So I was like, okay,
Boom.
I know. And of course, they were solid, you know, 10 units each. So, and by my fourth week, I I had 243 units. I remember all this stuff.
And now
It
you're
actually,
moving.
I was number one in units for first year, not just customers. And but those Sunday meetings, yeah, because I just wanted to be. It doesn't sound like a lot now, but you know, I ended up number 38 for the first year for in education. So uh,
It's pretty good.
yeah, there was probably
That's
about four
3,000
four
kids.
thousand.
Number 38. Yeah, yeah. It's especially for like the rookies. There's mostly rookies, so that's a pretty solid. That's a pretty solid first summer.
Yeah,
That's
it was. I think it was 2,500, 3,000 first year kids back then.
that's wild.
So yeah, it was really good. So
That's in the top percent. That's amazing. Where? Well, I got a question for you. Where in New York are you from? What town in upstate?
it's in the Finger Lakes, central New York, Penn, Pennyan, Penn. So it'd be south. It's between Rochester and Syracuse, about 20
Okay.
miles south of the Thruway. Yeah,
Okay. Got
we
it.
had kids.
I sold in Hornell.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My brother went and sister went to college at Alfred University.
Yeah. Yeah. In Scio, between Scio and Hornell. I know.
Yeah,
I sold across the campus of Alfred University.
yeah, yeah.
And I sold to professors that taught in Alfred my first summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
name.
Wellsville, Whitesville,
Yeah,
Greenwood. Yeah, all of
Southern
those. Man,
Tier.
I was crushing it. That was my favorite territory that I've ever sold in. As far as like,
Wow.
I mean, everybody was
People from New
buying,
York
man.
bought books.
Yeah, man. I hit PC a couple times up there. Man. That was
Wow.
all my first summer. Yeah, it was crazy. It was such a good time, and everybody knew each other, even from across town. There
Yeah,
was a big family there that like had like I love this. They were brothers. There were multiple siblings, and they owned like a logging company. So they chopped trees and shipped out wood, timber, and all that stuff. And they owned the company, but I sold to like the like the brother that had the biggest stake in the company. And so and they're fun. They're a fun family. And it's
yeah,
one of those where you sell to the brother, and he's like, "Hey, listen, you got to go see my other brother. My other brother, you tell him I bought They're going to buy everything because
Whoa.
they want to compete. I'm like, all right. So you show up to the house and like, Steve told me you're going to buy everything because he bought everything. So you don't want to, let him
Oh,
beat you. And they'd be like, oh yeah, sure. We'll take the whole thing. Like, it's like, it was just like, all right. It's a beautiful, beautiful area.
yeah.
Love New York. Love New York.
I wished I knew how. We didn't sell pack. Uh, my best week, I had 50 customers,
That's
uh,
insane.
50 solid customers.
That's wild.
I had 505 units. That's it. Because we just had two books, and I sold a lot at the door, and it just, I remember my best stretch was 120 customers in 3 weeks, had 1,100 units. So it's just,
Golly.
they started selling packages after I got through. That's my excuse. That's why Dave Rosen did so well.
That's
So,
exactly what Dave Rosen did so well. That's right.
Mr.
Well,
Package.
then, yeah, they would. Him and Bill Zizzy, they just would be like, "This is the whole bag."
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
bought the whole bag.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I didn't know how the credit card thing worked. I'm like, they gave us this little, this old fashioned. I'm like, I don't even know what a credit card is. 1982. I don't know. I'm from a small town. We don't use credit cards. Uh,
Penny Ann.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I never
Oh
used a
man,
credit card once. I just didn't know how to use it.
that's so funny. And now it's like that's the only thing. Cash?
Oh yeah.
What the hell's
Yeah.
what the hell's cash? I don't got
Yeah.
cash. Like,
Checks.
what are you talking about? What's a check?
I haven't written a check forever. I don't even know what a check is anymore.
I pay with my watch. You got the Apple Pay. You just beep on the thing. Nobody touches anything.
I did
I
take
get my
trades.
Gatorade.
I took trades, so anyway, I don't know.
That's awesome, man. So that's the first summer, and you were. I mean, that's pretty good. 38, and then you're like, all right, I got to come back for more. How did you know? And what was it like going back to your dad, going, look at this, man, I crushed it.
I went back to school. I was kind of a I'm a party guy, I don't know. So I went back and, just went back. I didn't party at all during the summer. I mean, it was strict for me. But as soon as the first day back, I think I got arrested at college for doing something we shouldn't have done. So me and my roommate. So yeah, I got off schedule. I wasn't a very good student, So Southwestern was everything. I was like, I don't have to do well in school, Mom and Dad. They said, oh, you better because we're not paying for school anymore. I said, don't worry about it, So actually, they cut me off after that financially. So I had to. I wanted to go back and sell, but that was probably I was extremely immature. I still am, according to my wife. No, but it was about when I was 23 or 24 after I got my head kicked in enough times. That's when I sold. My first summer I was 20, and just again extremely immature. Thinking, you could run through brick walls. But I got again my head kicked in so many times after that. We didn't have the greatest organization. The next summer I went to Florida. I think I might have told you this earlier. I signed up 14 kids to go with me, and one came, and that one lasted a week. So I sold in Florida my second summer. My personality is I have to have something to go for. So when I became the number one person in my org after the 6th week, and it was probably the 3rd or 4th week, but I got 300 units, and that was number one in our organization. And so I improved every 180, 190, 220, and then by the 6th week it was in the 300s, the low 300s, and I didn't have any problems with schedule, but I didn't understand. I had to call my sales manager during the day. And so I would stop working and go try to find a phone booth or a payphone.
Payphone.
Yeah, there's no cells. And he said, why don't you just use the phone in someone's house? Well, I didn't even think about that. So I never had a schedule problem. But when I started to spend an hour trying to find a phone booth or a payphone, I don't have any dimes, so mentally I just started it just little by little, I'd get off doing other things, and then I switched headquarters, and no air conditioning. I would recommend if you work in Florida, you got to have air conditioning. So, because you need to get at least 1 hour of sleep
Brutal.
a night. I got
It's
0 hours
brutal.
of sleep for like 2 weeks. So I'm out there selling like a zombie. So I lasted 8 weeks. You know, I couldn't do it. I remember when someone would follow me, I'd say, okay, I go out, talk to 3 houses. So I just remember I sold all 3 of them. And after the third one, you know, the guy's like, I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to do this. He's like, neither do I. I mean, that's why he's following me in week 9, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, it you know, I think I had about the same number of units the second summer as I had the first summer.
But it started getting to you that voice that like this is the passion, kind of losing the steam of it. Sounds like.
Yeah, I was I'm an emotional guy, even though I let my emotions get to me a lot of times. And uh, and I have to have a reason to do stuff. If I don't have a reason, I'm not gonna do it. I'm kind of hard headed at times, and if I don't have a reason, I'm like I taught school for 4 years, and after my fourth year, I'm like I don't want to do this anymore, you know, and
Yeah.
did a good job. And they wanted me back. They want to give me tenure. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And my parents, I was like, Bob, you got. This was after I didn't go to school to get a degree in teaching. After my fourth summer, you know,
Burned
uh,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I called. I was in Sacramento, California, and 3,000 miles from home. I called home and said, Mom, Dad, I got no money, and I'm living in my car because I had to move out of the headquarters. I just said, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I said, can I come home? And they're like, no, you graduated from college. You need to get your act together. I'm like, hey, I need to come home. I need money. I have no money. I have no gas money. I can't come home. Bob, we don't have any room here. I mean, my mother told me this is the hardest call. And when he hung up, I'm like, what the heck am I
Damn.
gonna do? I got no. I'm living in my car in a parking lot. I was a top salesperson. I'm a college graduate, and man, whew. So I tell you, I that was about as low. That was as low as I talk about failure. Man, I was the worst. I mean, I had 3 home runs in one game in high school. I mean, I everything I did was, I always tried to be not try, but I always ended up being either the best person in the organization or best player. Blah blah blah. Now I am like you suck at everything. You're the worst. What? There's no
Zero.
sense
Yeah.
even going on. You loser. So, good
Wow.
self talk, huh?
That's heavy, man. That
Yeah,
hurts.
yeah, yeah.
What
Well,
did
it
you
hurt
do?
back then. I got lucky. I got super lucky. Well, fortunate, whatever you want to say. I was sleeping in a church parking lot. Figured I wouldn't get killed there. The safe place to sleep. Oh, took baths in the American River, bar soap. I had enough money to buy bananas and popcorn. So, anyway, I went to a. I had become a Christian 3 years before on the book field, which is just an unbelievable story.
And that'll
But
be the ponytail. That'll be the
okay,
ponytail.
that'll
So
be a
the book.
ponytail.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, later, what I did, I just went to one of those big mega churches. And I said, "Hey, I got no place to live. I was clean. I wasn't, a bum. Although I was a bum." And they said, "Well, why don't you come down? We're doing this outreach thing um, in Sacramento downtown, handing out food to homeless people, and we're gonna just come on down there. There's a bunch of single guys who will be there." And so I went down there, and he introduced me. The pastor introduced me to a bunch of the guys, and these guys, unbelievable. It was a very small house they were renting, and the 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a living room. That's it. And they didn't have any room, but they said, hey, you need help. So they let me sleep on the couch. So I slept on the couch for about a year, and got a job at a Christian bookstore, made $4 an hour, uh, you know, and uh, and just slowed down to a snail's pace, and said, figured out what was most important, and that was 37 years ago, and it was the most important thing. Really, it changed my life completely, because I was getting plastered, for every
Yeah.
weekend, and then it became every Friday, every or Thursday, every Wednesday. It's fun. It was a fun lifestyle, but when you run out of money, and you know, it doesn't add up to much. It didn't add up to much.
Yeah.
So
Golly, that's a crazy story.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
was in the middle of the summer, so you were like done with Southwestern, and you're like, all right. And then by the end of the summer, you had found these guys.
End of the summer, what?
You found is when you found these guys. You were still out in the book field, and then you stopped, or how did
I
you?
Yeah, it was like 8 of us living in a 2-bedroom apartment. And I feel bad. I always felt bad. The guy who recruited, or he asked me to help him build a team, and so I helped him build the team. I didn't do much. He did it all, but he brought about 20 kids out to Sacramento, and I was supposed to be one of their leaders, and I did well my first week of salary, but I just knew I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, and so I left the apartment and just lived in my car instead. So I just
Wow,
broke off
that's
communication
hard.
completely. Yeah, I was like, what happened to him? Is he still alive? I didn't. I was so embarrassed. I was terribly embarrassed. Just
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah,
My fourth summer, my third and fourth summer, I was super off schedule, and there's like a guilt
yeah.
and shame. There's these really hard negative feelings that you get because you feel like you're letting. Well, and my brother was my org leader, so I especially my third summer, he wasn't the org leader. My third summer, it was just the second summer, but I had felt like I really let him down, and so I understand that too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the feeling of like just like you said you were going to do this, and it goes against like your integrity, and it feels like
yeah.
it
I'm a
feels like you're
Christian.
just
And I'm a bum. I'm like, geez,
yeah.
nice testimony, Bob. You know, and
But it's hard. It's so hard, and you can't go back. It's hard to like get back out. Like, and it's not even a fear thing. People are like, "Well, you're just scared to go to the next door." No, it's not even. I'll go knock. It's not. It's just when your heart's just not in that. There's this like break that happens, and you're just like, I
yeah,
can't. I literally cannot go on the next house.
yeah.
Oh,
It's Yeah, and I owed money. I owed money to Dave Causer. He kind of helped me get into this again, because I had a very good start my third year. I hit President's Club, had tons of customers. I was the number one guy in combined orgs. We had two orgs. We had the other org was pretty darn good, but you know, I said no. I'm done with college, so let me find a real job, and I did really well, sold tons of copiers. I got in 1984. I was in the PC industry, and I could have been a billionaire, but PC back then meant personal copier, not personal computer. So I was great at selling personal copiers in Rochester, New York. But like, I don't want to do this. And then Dave said, "Hey, why don't you come out one more year, and I'll write you a really good a letter, a recommendation to go to an MBA school," which is what I wanted to do. And thought, okay, that's a good idea. So Dave invested a lot of time and money in me, and I let him down terribly, and I owed him money, and of course I'm mad, but eventually I paid him back, and you know, uh, you know. That was 37 years ago. I'm just glad I didn't do anything rash. Let's put it that way.
right. Yeah, it could have been
Yeah,
worse. It could have been like you could have
yeah,
ended up doing drugs or something like crazy.
yeah. Or
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, and there is, it's not, it's, man, there, it's dark. It's a dark place when you're in that moment
yeah.
because you
Hmm.
feel like the people that you would go ask for help, you're embarrassed of, and you feel ashamed. So you like, I have no room to ask you for help when I'd let you down. And
I had no one to talk. I didn't know. I couldn't talk to my
it's
parents.
hard.
They told me I can't come home. I couldn't talk to Southwest people who I knew. I was alone, alone. And
It's
boy,
hard.
that is tough. And it was good though. It was the best thing that could happen. If I was back in New York with my friends, I just would have went out. And
Yeah.
you know, and just
But you were in Sacramento, you had to figure it out. And
oh
so a year later, you were in that couch. A year later, you kind of like got back on your feet slowly, start stretching back out. What and then how did you? So that's in '85. No, what year was this then? 80.
85, summer of 85, my
Yeah.
last summer. Yeah. Mhm.
And then you get married in '94. So what
Yeah.
happened in between that decade?
What happened to that decade? Well, I working at the Christian bookstore was great because I had a mentor there who my personality was if you have a question, you ask 10 people and you try to find someone who agrees with you, you know. And so, oh yeah, that's the answer. And so he would never. I'd ask him questions, because he was older and he used to be a pastor, and I'd say, well, what about this? What about that? And he'd say, well, what's the Bible say? And I'm like, man, I don't want to read the Bible. It's I don't. So anyway, he just would not answer questions. He made me research, look things up, study, and then so I started to read. That's when I started to read. You work at a Christian bookstore, there's a lot of books to read. So I just got turned on to, I guess, education maybe, or books, and I mean books to read. Uh, it's that old Seinfeld thing. Jerry goes, "I read," and Elaine goes, "Books, Jerry, not magazines or Sports Illustrated." So working at the bookstore, I only was there for 6 months, and I didn't have any long pants or anything. I just had shorts. But anyway, I said, "What do you want to do, Bob? You're out of college." And I said, "Well, I think I want to either preach or teach because I wanted to influence people. I wanted to help them, because I'd come out of that lull and it's
Yeah.
like, I think I can help people." And so I'm not a preacher type because I'm a little too excited about things sometimes, and yeah, and I'm not a great recruiter, right? I can't, if you're going to be a pastor, you got to be good with people. I'm good with people until they get to know me. That's what I tell people. But anyway, I thought I'd teach. Well, I didn't have any money, so I spent 2 years working at a sales job, but it wasn't really a hard sales. It was just really called route sales. They gave me a company car. I drove around 1,000 miles a week, just calling on yogurt shops. So it was no pressure, nothing hard. So all I did for 2 years was listen to guys on the radio, pastors. So I got basically a 2-year Bible degree, listening to 8 hours a day of tapes, self-help tapes, More Utley, just all this tapes, Dennis Rainey,
Positive.
all these things. And so then I went back to school for a year and a half, got a degree to teach, taught for 4 years, and then quit teaching because I was making more money mowing lawns than I was teaching, and mowing lawns was pretty easy. I had 100 lawns. I could run a business. I could run businesses. So I got 100 lawns like that, just doing what other people didn't do to get customers. Just I did the common denominator of success and to run my business. Treat others the way I want to be treated. Do a better job than everybody else. Show up on time. Don't charge too much. And I just couldn't keep. I had so many customers, but my body started to fall apart. Mowing lawns. I was such a cheapskate. I would buy crappy equipment. The Southwestern model. Eat bologna sandwiches and peanut butter and and I'd buy a push
yourself
mower.
poorly physically.
Oh, I can't go into that. No, you can't spend any money. So I used a push mower to mow 80 lawns a week, and then I upgraded to a power push mower. And I was killing myself. But I met my wife, and I was like, "Honey, I can't. I mean, I'm mowing lawns. What is she attracted to me for? She's way out of my league." But so once we got married and had kids, I said, "I got to get a real job." So
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
A question for you, and then we can jump into the ponytail. But this is an important question I want to ask. What advice would you either give yourself, like looking back where you turned out now? So it's 40 years later, almost 37 years later. So what advice would you give Bob in that parking lot at that church, or someone who is currently going through being at the parking lot at the church?
Hmm.
What would you say to yourself now?
Well, being serious, don't kill yourself. Uh, that's not never the answer. I, if you live long enough, you know a lot of people who don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You uh, you got to find somebody. I tell you what, you can come live with us. If you're at that stage, you can live with us because it's you can't. It's not that nothing's that dramatic. It feels like it. Oh, it feels like it. It feels bad, but feelings will really mess you up. Uh, I, I don't know. What would you do? What would you say to someone like me, Andre?
Oh man, that's hard.
Without being cliched.
Sure. I think um, because it's hard for people to really understand how dark it can get.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's people that be like, "Well, just go up, go to the next door." And it's like,
Vince
you can't.
Lombardi.
Like, you
Yeah.
just can't sometimes.
Yeah.
And the first thing I would say is it's okay to not be okay.
Hmm.
I think that's something that, and maybe I might be generalizing, but I feel like men also mainly have a hard time admitting that something's not okay.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? At least in my experience. But man, woman doesn't matter. Like if you're at a point where it just feels like there's no more that you can move forward with, you don't have to move forward. You could just just stay and understand and acknowledge. You not even own up to the feelings. Just notice even your feelings. Just try to point out, how am I feeling? Is it shame? Because it's always it starts with sadness, right? Sadness is like the key, but then like anger, shame, guilt, like they all kind of stem from the main core of sadness. It could be, it's like, what kind of sadness is it? Grief? Are you losing something? Did you lose friends? Did you lose a loved one? Is it just complete? Maybe it's the chemical thing, right? Depression, where it's like it's not even your fault. It's just your brain is
Right.
deciding to just be this way, right? And be like just chemically imbalanced, and that sucks. So
Yeah.
what I would tell Bob is, besides the faith, because sometimes you tell people you got to pray, and then they're like, I don't believe in God, and you're like, well, shit, like that doesn't help. So then, right? So not even that, to not be. Those are all the cliches. I think the biggest thing is one day at a time. It's
Yeah.
literally going to be okay.
One
It's
day,
just
1
get to today.
hour,
Yeah.
10 minutes. And so, yeah, the goal period thing, I've used that, the goal periods for 40 years. And yeah, getting through one day is very hard sometimes, but can I get through the next hour? And it's that hope thing. Here I am, I was 22 at the time. Oh, my life's over. I mean, I'm 22 and I'm thinking these things, and really, and you know what, uh, um, uh, Dave, not Dave, Dan Moore. It's
Yeah.
that da-da-da,
Mr. Mediocrity.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it really is, and uh, it's like you said, it's okay. Let's get through today. Let's get through today. I couldn't wait to tonight, nighttime, to get to sleep. Oh, good. But yeah, get through the day, and
Yeah. It's just I don't know if you can make it 10 years. I don't know if you can make it 1 year,
yeah,
a month,
I
a
don't
week,
know.
or a day. Hell, I don't know.
Yep, yep,
I know you can make it through this hour.
yes,
It's
yes, yeah,
right now it's 3:20 here in Portland. You can
yeah,
make it till 4 o'clock.
yep.
And at 4
That's
o'clock we'll check in again.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry
You know?
about 401. Let's get to 4. And
Yeah, just what do you just And if you just gotta sit there and just let it happen, let it suck for a while, okay, then let it suck for another hour. But at some point, it just doesn't. Your brain fixes itself, or like, or at least helps you get in the right movement, and
Yeah.
it
I have three
slowly but
kids
surely starts working.
who are in their
Yeah,
20s, and when one of them had one of them's my youngest is uh very he's got a brain that mathematical brain that's like way up there. So he's just, he was taking all the hard. He ran out of courses to take by 10th grade, right? And graduated from Purdue in 3 years, double major actuarial science and statistics. So he's
math guy.
logical as they come, and he knows what's
Yeah.
going on. But when his girlfriend said he didn't even go to classes in college, and he got 3.99. He got an A- in one class. And but when his girlfriend broke up, your logic, you're logical
It goes
about
out the
everything.
window.
It's
Yeah.
so I know one thing that somebody told me a long time ago, said when you're logical, think about the times you could be illogical, because you will get to those points, and then when you're at that point, remember what you said about, so you kind of talk to yourself when you're in your right mind. So when you
Yeah.
get in your wrong mind, you have that to fall back on. And I have 40 years of experience since that happened, or I should say it happened in 2095. So I have 37 years of experience now, and I know. And I always tell my kids, I said, look, you're smarter than I am. You know more than I do. I'm a dummy and I'm old, but I have had a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
I might be able to help you out in that situation to tell
Yeah.
you what I went through. So,
And personally, if you don't ask people, experience, if you're just trying to go at it alone, experience is one of those things that you get after you need it, not before.
yeah,
That's why it's called experience, because you've been through it, and then you look back and go, "Oh, that's right, this has happened before."
yeah,
But that's why you got to ask for help, and
you do.
it's hard. It's hard to do it. Like it's not. It's where it. Nothing in life that is simple is easy usually. Like the things that are good in life are normally pretty simple. Like marriage, love your wife.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's step one. Check. Got it. Okay, but then like what happens if this happens? Or if this happens? Or if this happens? It's not it's hard, but
it will happen.
it's still simple, right? But
Yeah,
it is hard. It's so hard. And usually the things in life that are easy aren't like really worth anything, so it's not like memorable, but they're hard. The good things in life, it takes a little while, but they're worth it, and the people are like, well, stop being sad. I know, but it's not that easy. It's
yeah,
not that easy. Same thing as like, just get happy or whatever. It's like you
yeah.
can't just like say it like it's that simple. It's simple, but it's just not easy.
Right.
But the first step is, yeah, taking it one minute at a time, even, and two, asking people for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help. Ask for help. Specific help. Don't just be like, I need help. No, here, hey, I'm going through a hard time because this happened, and you just reminded me of something when we sold books. Um, I don't know if this happened when you were in sales school, but at our sales school, they would take a moment where like it wasn't too exciting and it wasn't too sad. It was just like pretty chill. And they would say, all right, write a letter to yourself because you
Mm.
might want to quit. And so write a letter to yourself going, start with, I am currently rational.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's where it's
If
probably where it came from,
Yeah, if I'm reading this, it means I am not currently rational.
Yeah.
So here is what I wrote down when I was rational. And then like you would write down like all your reasons why you're doing this and all this stuff. And ideally, if you had a tough day and you wanted to quit, you would like open that up and be like, oh, that's right. This kind of like what you're saying. Like when you're logical, try to think of situations like, in case of fire break here, right? Type of situations. So that way when shit hits the fan, pardon
Yeah.
the French, like
No,
because they will, it hits the fan.
yeah.
When it does, like that's your fire extinguisher. That's the rationality, where because that way you can use it to put out whatever fire is going on, man. It's a hard to navigate, and there's no clear answer.
No.
There's no answer that works for everyone. Because if that was the case, then there'd be no more suicide, right? There would be no more depression. It's
Mhm.
not. There's no like a blanket coat that you just put it on. And it's like, oh yeah, read this and you're more
Yeah.
fine. No, it's everybody's at a different place. But remember, you're not alone, right? Everybody's been through the hardest thing they've ever been through.
Yeah.
And it's stupid to tell someone, oh, well, you had it worse, so this person has it worse, so you shouldn't be complaining. That's also not a good thing. It's like, hey, I don't know why you're going through this, and I don't know why this is so hard for you, but it's okay. It's okay
Well,
to
I tell you
have
what helped me really in the last 37 years is I um, I really I have I had a legal relationship with God. So in other words, if I was doing good, He was happy. If I was not doing good, he's not very happy. So it was a contract that said, Bob, if you do what you're supposed to do, then he will do what he's supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And boy, I every time, so it was like, oh, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to. But then around 1990, 1992, and this is another thing too, small groups. It's good to have, when you have friends to meet on a regular basis, that'll help you because when you withdraw, that's a sign. So I never or haven't withdrawn. I've always sought out a small group for the last 37 years. And but what I had I went my relationship with God went from a legal to I started understanding it was unilateral. And what I mean by that is he makes the contract. I don't have to do anything. And he decides. And if you read the Bible, which I started doing, that helped. He will never leave you or forsake you. I'm like, ooh, what does that mean? And then adoption and child. So anyway, my relationship went from being a performance based, which never ended well for me because eventually you don't perform as well because the bar keeps on getting higher. Yeah, I can high jump 5 feet, and then well now you got to high jump 5'5" and 6 foot. Eventually you can't make it over the bar, but you keep trying, and it gets very frustrating when you can't when you never you're never going to succeed. There's no hope of succeeding. Well, that's my goal changed, and that changed my life. Now I'm still as intense and still as oh uh, forward as I always have been, but my relationship, I'm extremely results oriented, but it's not my be all and end all anymore, and that's changed, helped me a lot, personally. Personally, yeah.
That's brilliant. I love that. Dang, this is great. This has been a great episode, Bob.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, it's been
getting into
fun.
some real stuff right here. It's and again,
There's a lot better guys than me. Way more successful, way more everything. I Phil and I, uh, we United Healthcare is a big company, and for what we do, Phil and I are like number two out of like 50,000. And so I say that because you just never know. We do know how to work hard. You control the controllables. It's easy to say that you control the controllables. Don't worry about the uncontrollables. Well, you know, I owe a lot to Southwestern, but there's other people who are, way more. They hobnob with the big names, and all. We're just little guys who just work hard and try to provide a product and to help people. So anyway.
yeah, but that's don't sell yourself short though, because a lot of people say that it's like, oh, money or these people are more well known. You know what though? You're still changing lives one person at a time. When someone's kid who got a policy from you goes and has heart surgery, and your company writes them a check for $220,000, they don't give a shit about Dave Rosen. You know what
No,
I'm saying? Or whoever. They care that Bob Brown showed up with a $220,000 check, and they will always be thankful for that. And I know that because my parents, my surgery was in Colombia, so they didn't have to, like, they had to pay for other things, but then it was not a financially solid situation. But
right.
some of it was really well covered because we had a universal health care, because that's just how Colombia's done, the medicine down there. But like, they are thankful to that doctor
Yeah.
My mom still talks to like the guy, but you have a big part to play in that, right? What you guys do is important. So don't sell yourself short, because to somebody you are the winner, and to a lot of people, more than likely, most people don't get to do what you're doing, and 22 years later, all of a sudden you're like crushing it like this. This is it's a big deal. It's a big deal what you're doing, and I'm very proud
Oh,
that another book, that two book guys and I'm honored that you're here. I'm honored that
well,
you're on the
thank
show.
you. I thought about this or wrote it down, and someone else came up with it. Of course, everything I have is someone else has, but I can't save the whole world. Sometimes you want to, and you get frustrated. You can't. I cannot save the whole world, but I can save the whole world of one person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a better goal for me than to try to save the whole world. You know.
Yeah. And it's the person in front of you, the person that you just
Yeah.
got done talking to, the person
Yeah.
that just ended up getting the assistance they needed from you.
When I taught
Really?
school, it was great. I mean, it was you just, but you don't. I left the industry or the before you get the pats in the back. I got the man. This is frustrating. I'm out. If you stick, I tell you, if you stick with something for a long time, it does. Yeah, that's a good thing. I get phone calls all the time. Oh, somebody told me about you. I haven't talked to them in 15 years, but I helped them 15 years ago, and they still got the plant. So whatever.
That's awesome. Gotta love that. Cool. Dang. All right. Well, what do you say we move into the ponytails?
Oh yeah, let's go to ponytails. I
Does
love
that
them.
work?
Oh,
All right. So
yeah.
we got a good one from you. It's basically how your faith came along in the first place, right? Is what
Yeah.
we're talking about. So
Yeah.
we'll jump into that. Let me talk a little bit about the last couple of partners that we have, and then the mic is yours, my friend.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about Enlight Energy. So if you guys are wondering, we talked a little bit about we had mentioned how much solar is lucrative it is, and the Enlight Energy is ran by Julio Hernandez, who was a DSM at Southwestern in the mid 2000s, crushed both the book business. 10,000 unit producer, but then he also was like a massive recruiter. But he's doing to solar what Southwestern's kind of done to real estate. So if you have a passion for the planet, if you have a desire to earn really, really good money, and you want to work with someone like Nick Taverdi is he's like our periodic host when I am not available, but Nick's crushing it in that industry. You can see how you can join him and Julio at Enlight. So a sale every other week in that industry and with that company is enough to earn a 6-figure income. And Nick is well on his way to do that. And so, they have the ability to work with people in pretty much every market. So pretty much any state that you live in the United States. You're not really selling anything to their customers at an additional cost. It's just like a bill replacement. So they're looking for people to work for them. So reach out to us and we will make sure that you get in touch with Julio. We've actually had 3 or 4 people now that have gone to work with that company through Ponytails because they heard about it here. So make sure you guys, we can continue. We love giving that referral over there, and they like working with people that come from Southwestern. And then, of course, the last bit that I want to mention, and this is actually good for everybody because our website's finally here, and it's exciting. Our store, if you want merch, if you want like a Ponytails podcast, hoodies, t-shirts, fanny packs, backpacks, water bottles, leggings, towels, pillowcases, whatever you guys want, you can go purchase them there. Yeah, hats, all koozies. Yeah, we got all of it, Bob. They're going to be launching our site officially, and it was all done because of V Design Lee. So Oscar and Oliver are the masterminds behind the website. And if you own a business, you want to have the effective presence online. We know a podcast that we need to have a podcast and we need to have a good website with a podcast. But most American website developers, when we were looking, cost anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000 when we told them what we wanted to do with our, everything that's going to live on there and the intricacies of it all. It's not a simple website. It's a pretty solid one. And that's what they were going to charge us. But with these guys, they actually give us a pretty solid discount because they're over in Estonia. And so they have big enterprise integrations that they can help you build. And it's important to have a solid website, that can create funnels, get all your traffic in the right place, customer interactions, AI, all that stuff. So we will get you in touch with them. They were the ones that did our website. So if you guys are looking for a website, you have a small business, big business that you need kind of an update on their website. Maybe the website they guys have going on isn't good. Gosh, these guys are extremely knowledgeable and they're designing a lot of different things for us that are making it, pretty It's a pretty penny, and they give you a discount if you're a book person too. So reach out to us. We can get you in touch with them for sure. Big or small, doesn't matter. But right now we move into the big time ponytails. This is on an Easter Sunday, and I think it makes sense that we wrap this one up with the story, which is about how Bob found his faith out in the book field, and I'm excited to hear about it. When you told me about this at the beginning before we were doing the sound check, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a good one to end it with," because And again, this doesn't have to be. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. It's your mic. I'm just going to shut up and listen, and you share away whatever your heart and your faith allows you to. So go for it, sir.
Well, just a disclaimer. I work by myself at my house, but we have an office of like 15 people or so down in Nashville. So that $300 buffer is good because I would be an HR nightmare because I don't have a big governor on my mouth. So plus I'm old. I might say some things that aren't politically correct. I don't know. I'm going to try not to. I don't think so, but you never know. I'm just giving a disclaimer ahead of time if I say
Sure
something
enough.
offensive.
No worries. It's an uncensored podcast, and we know you mean well, no matter what.
Well, and I would never push my faith on somebody else. Remember More Utley?
Yeah.
Took that hand, and then he grabbed my hand. Anyway, More Utley.
Yeah.
And a quick side note: when I taught school, I would say, "Okay, kids, we're not going to do math right now. Get out your notebooks and write this down. I'm going to give you." How many of you are here in junior high for the first time? Well, you're going to have the greatest year you've ever had in all your lives. And so I had to write down the 5 principles and these things. You got to think big, kids. And I want to win. And so I did all that stuff. But I taught school, man. It was, I wore myself out.
You gave them more Utley talk to your students.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good teacher right there.
You better believe it. You better believe it. And a lot of kids bought in to all that stuff, but the ones who didn't, those are the ones that just got to me. I couldn't reach them all. So anyway, I grew up in a small town. There was only one church in the entire town. It was across the street. So it was no excuse not to go. But like I said earlier, we went 10 times. And so my thing was, I figured, hey, I must be a Christian. So I just assumed I was a Christian because I never killed anybody. I knew I wasn't Jewish. In fact, I don't think there was any Jewish people in our whole county. And I knew, and I thought, well, of course there's a God. So I figured those 3 things makes me a Christian, since I never killed anybody and everything. Anyway, so I get down to Southwestern and my first summer, and they give us material to read, and I'm like, I'm not interested. Don't push this. I just want to make some money out in the book field. And so I carried a Vince Lombardi book with me because, if I was having trouble, I just open up a Vince Lombardi. All right, get out there and kill somebody, or get out there and do it, you big baby. So, my self-talk was, kick myself in the head. That's the kind of coaches I always had. So I started off slow, but I became our number one person, first year person, 243 units. I probably had 30 customers. I don't know. But I was, and I got all the accolades. Stand up if you had 10 units, and how about 20, and and 80 hours a week, and all these things. So I was unbelievable. I was, the tops, and I had a big head. Well, Sunday was, Sunday meetings. Well, my student manager, he said, hey, let's go to church before our meeting. Now, there was one church, and it was 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, 7:30 in the morning, come on. One day to sleep in a little. But anyway, I started going, and it was different than any other church I'd ever been to, because I'm like, they opened the Bible, and I thought, well, this is a little weird, but, and then when the guy talked, it was in Costa Mesa, California, Southern California, and so, and plus I didn't have a car, so the only way I could, I basically had to go because they went to church, and then we went to the Sunday meeting afterwards. So I basically had to go, but it was, interesting. Now, my fifth or sixth week out, it was after I had my best week. I was, Bob Brow, you're amazing. I look in the mirror
I'm
and say,
awesome.
I wouldn't just look in the mirror and say, you good looking thing, don't you ever die? I'd say, you're amazing. Anyway, um, my the Monday, I had a great week, a great day. Uh, um, but Tuesday, no sales. Wednesday, no sales. Thursday, no sales. Now, when someone has no sales for 3 or 4 days in a row, most student managers think something's going on. Me, I was doing the same thing, just nothing, nothing, nothing. Well, they said you need to follow somebody on like Friday or so. So I followed somebody, and they're like, "So you're not working?" I said, "No, I work like a dog." I was just nothing changed. I don't know. You know, there's a Bible verse that says, "Pride goeth before the fall." Well, I was pretty proud, and for some
There it
reason,
went.
yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 straight days. Well, Saturday, I uh, I uh, I sold something, but it's really because I traded for a bicycle. I didn't have a bicycle at the time, and I don't know if I cut to. Anyway, I had 60 units for the whole week. So about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, man, I need help. I need help. So actually, I'm sorry. Can I go back a little? Yes.
Yeah.
So Thursday I followed somebody. Well, so okay, everything's going to be great. Well, Friday I'm in Midway City, California, and I hadn't sold anything. It was 8 o'clock at night. I still hadn't sold anything. I mean, again, this is just. I don't know if any of these Southwestern folks were doing well, and then all of a sudden you hit this 4 or 5 days where you got. I mean, it was. I'm sure they thought I was goofing off. And so
It's the wall.
I'm starting to cry. Sorry, I am finger pointing. That's why I got fired once. Um, I am starting to cry on a corner in Midway City, California, 8 at night because I'm like, I'm homesick. I didn't realize it, but I was homesick, and I'm like, I can't, what is? I'm doing my best. I'm trying to. So I pull up my Vince Lombardi. Vince, what would you do? So he kicked me in the pants, and said, "Look at your pre-approach pad. Go to the next house, Southwestern. Go to the next. Just keep going." So I was one of these guys. So I kept going. So I found this family, and am I getting loud?
No, this is
Anyway,
great.
I
You're doing
found this.
great, man.
Yeah, this this family. I looked at my pre-approach. Okay, they're school teachers. They're the easiest sales. No, I'm just kidding. Um, they had two kids. So it was the perfect customer. And so I went up to the door, knocked, and they said, I said, well, can I, they said, no, no. And they politely shut the door. So I'm like, I start walking down that sidewalk, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Well, I turned back around, knocked on their door again. They open up and go, what do you want? And I'm like, can I come in, please? Just come in and sit down. So I went and sat down on the couch. It was a very modest house. This was the poorer part of Midway City. I sat down, two kids, mom and dad. They're watching the Dukes of Hazzard Friday night. And I start bawling. I mean, bawling.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. They thought, what is going on here? We have no idea. I couldn't even talk. I was like, I mean, I'm just 10, 15 because I never cried. I'm a jock. I played on 10 championship baseball teams growing up in Little League, Babe Ruth, college, high school. I never failed at anything. When my brother bought light bulbs to sell to make money to go to Philmont, New Mexico as a Boy Scout, he couldn't sell one of them. Well, my parents say, Bob, I'm like 7 years old, go and sell these light bulbs. I'm like, all right. So anyway, I am bawling my head off, and I have no idea what's going on. All I know is I started saying things like, I'm only 3,000 miles from home. I'm doing the best I can, and I just 15 minutes later, after I stopped crying, the guy goes, "Are you a Christian?" I said, I don't know what I am at this point. You know, it was, if you died today, would you go to heaven, or if you died, what would you say? And I said, I don't know. I'm a good person, and all these things. And they went to the same church that I was going to. Now this isn't, I'm 30 miles from the church, and they happen to go to this church. And they said, well, there's this concert they have every Saturday night, and you should go to it. You should go to this concert. I said, well, what time? It's like, well, it starts at 7. I said, I can't get off work. I got to quit work at 9:30. So anyway, the next day was Saturday, and of course I didn't make any sales, and so really it was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't realize it, but when I did my sales sheet, you fill out your hours.
Yeah, the bar report.
Yeah, the report. 75 hours and 2 minutes, something like that. Because I was a Eagle Scout. You got to be honest. You can't. So I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So anyway, I stopped work, but I didn't know what to do because I was dropped off. So I knew where I lived, but I had no idea how to get there. So I took a bus. I rode the bus system. Well, the bus system got me close to home. I got back home around 6 or so, and the people, remember, their son had sold books. And when I got there, they said, hey, you're not supposed to be home this early. You're supposed to be home, at 9 or 10 o'clock. I said, I know, I'm going to this church service thing on a Saturday night. Again, I'm off schedule. But I did get my 75 hours in. That's the truth. So anyway, I'm home at their house. I'm like, okay, I'm safe. The feelings had left, so I said, I don't want to go to this concert. What did Vince Lombardi say? And so they said, no, you got to go. Well, the buses stopped running. So I get to the bus stop, and the buses stopped at 6 o'clock on Saturday. So I'm like, I don't even know how to get there to the church because I'm in Southern California. There's 10 million people who live there, and there's highways and roads going everywhere, and I'm just figure it out. Well, back in the day, Southwestern taught us how to hitchhike.
Yes.
I don't know if they do that anymore.
No, they don't. But people who sold in the 80s have all told us that they they hitchhiked on the way to the book field.
Man, I was good at hitchhiking. I never hitchhiked in my life before this, by the way.
And the state of serial killers during the 80s, when it was like the heat of serial killers.
Oh my goodness, I was unbelievable at hitchhiking. But again, never done it before. But I did exactly what they told me. They said, get on a corner where the stoplight is, and when the light turns red, look at people in their cars and go, hey, don't just stick your thumb out. I mean, you got to be active. So, there's 4 lanes going this way, 4 lanes coming this way. So this is not a little road. This is a big, major non-highway. And so I catch somebody's eye. I have another story about hitchhiking. I hitched like 80 miles once, and half the time was at night. And they picked me up. They said, I have no idea. They all said, I have no idea why we're picking you up, but you just look like you're going somewhere. I'm like, yeah. So I can only take you this far. So I had like 4 or 5 people. Anyway, so this Saturday night, I catch somebody's eye. It's a little car, a Vega, if anybody remembers what a Vega is. And it was already full. And they rolled down the window. So what do you want? He's 3 cars over. Light's about ready to turn. I'm saying, I need a ride. Can you give me a ride? Where are you going? I said, I'm going to Calvary Chapel, in Costa Mesa. I had no idea where it was. They go, oh, really? That's where we're going. And so I'm like, okay. They gave me a ride. So I got a ride. Yeah. And I got there, it's about 1,500 people there. And I had never heard this thing called Christian music. Even when we went to church there, they mainly sung hymns. But Saturday night, they had these guys with guitars. And look at that, this is pretty good, whatever. I never heard it before, but.
Sure.
To me, growing up, there was one family in our town who went to church on like Sunday night or Wednesday. And they always showed up late for the softball games. Where were you? We needed you. There's like 6 kids. And they said, we were doing, after supper time we were doing some reading the Bible or something. We had to do this anyway. So they were Jesus freaks, weirdos. We call them. We just made fun of them all the time. But so here I am, 20 years old in this church in Southern California. I really don't know why I'm here, but the music was pretty good. And then after the music was over, this guy named Randy Ziegler, he was a surfer dude, and he had the long hair, and he'd talk, hey man, oh, I'm like, I'm from New York, and this guy is just talking, and I'm like, wow, I'd never heard this before. I went to church, remember, my whole life, more or less, Easter, Christmas, and 5 or 10 other times. Never heard this stuff. And it was the good news, the gospel. And they said, hey, bow your head and at the end, and if you want this, come lift your hand and come on forward. And I'm like, well, sure. I was lonely. So, it might have been an emotional thing, but I went down there and received Christ, said something, again, I don't know. It could have been totally emotional.
You're 20 at the time.
Yeah. So I had no idea. Yeah. So, but they took us into a back room when we were all done. And then they talked to us. I have no idea what they talked to us about. Gave us a little Bible, which replaced my Vince Lombardi book. So, but it's like 10:30 at night, and we were done. Well, again, I don't know where I am. I have no clue. And there's no cell phones. So the people at the house are like, where's Bob? He wasn't there when I went to pick him up. He was gone. Again, no way to communicate.
Lost.
Oh, my goodness. So I walk out the back door, not the front door because everything was closed. I'm one of the last people to leave. And pitch black and Costa Mesa, California. Again, no idea where to go. And those guys that picked me up were there waiting for me and said, hey, do you need a ride home? And I said, yeah. I said, where do you live? Well, I knew the address. So he took me home. And but here's the cool thing. It could have been all emotional, all that stuff. But the next morning, that Sunday morning, I opened the Bible. And I had just taken a class called Philosophy of Religion when I was at Cortland. And our assignments were to read about five different religions, Martin Buber and all these different, Zen and the Christianity was reading Matthew. I couldn't, during that class, 3 months earlier, 6 months earlier, I had no clue. I mean, it was like Greek. It just meant nothing to me. But that Sunday after receiving Christ, it was like scales fell off my eyes, and I would read the same thing, and it opened up like you can understand this, or it actually means something. And Whoa. So that was almost 40 years ago, and I've had, that summer. It's interesting because Monday, I had no sales. Tuesday, no sales. Wednesday, no sale. 10 units. I had 10 units by Thursday morning. But I wasn't pressing. Well, here's what happened. Thursday morning, I went and got a haircut. So they cut my hair. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I had 170 units, which doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but for a first year who had really zero, more or less, for 6 or 7 days.
A week. Midweek to midweek. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a pickup.
Well, 100, so the rest of the summer I averaged, between 150 and 210 or 220, somewhere in that range the rest of the summer. That's where my place was. I want to win week. By then I was like, Lord, I'd wake up in the morning, instead of looking in the mirror, say, you good looking place. So what do you think today? I mean, can you help me get these books into 7 homes maybe? And I only did it 3 times. I did it 3 times for the rest of the summer. I said, please, would you help me get these books into 7 homes or 6 homes or whatever it was? And 2 times, man, the last 3 homes of the night, they bought for some reason. There's the 7. And the only time it didn't work was I didn't think it was going to work the whole time anyway. But the other times I really, really, truly believed it. And I just knew. And so I won a win week. I needed 243 plus, which I hadn't hit since the 4th week of the summer or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lord, I want to win. And I got it. And that was probably, we've had kids live with us, I don't know, 20 summers since my wife and I have been married for 27 years. And kids from all over the world. Bulgarians. Hi, everybody in Bulgaria, and Scotland, and England, and California, and Florida, and Arizona. All you. Remember me? I would tell that I want to win story because I got it, and but it's been unbelievable for 40 years, and it really has. And Southwestern is the most important thing that I ever did. And the principles, still use them 40 years later. So,
bananas.
Yeah.
Bob, that's crazy. That's super cool. And like the coincidence is God's way of maintaining anonymity, is what I read that somewhere. I don't know if it was a quote, somebody told me that. But like when a lot of those chain reactions were like, oh, it just happened. The people that I hitch. I mean, you were in southern Los Angeles, essentially, like millions of vehicles, even in the 80s, going through that damn city, and of all the cars that you could have on that intersection, you could have just made eye contact with. They were going right to where you were going. They waited for you. They took you home. All the little things that had to happen at the same time. You're like, okay, you could somebody listening to this could be like, this bull crap. All right, whatever. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
somebody else.
I hear the stories, and I'd be like, that's crazy. That's no way that could happen.
Okay, that's fine. But then other people listening go, no, that's too many strings in a row.
Yeah.
That's too many loopholes.
Yeah.
For the universe to not.
I tell you, one of the things I do in the business is I've heard, the saying, don't oversell. And that's really important. Is because I was oversold when I bought my first health insurance policy on my own. So I try to undersell. And it's the same with the testimony is I could tell you 10 more things. But I don't want to go over the line of exaggeration. When we sell, and I stress this to our people, don't promise something or don't say anything that's going to cross the line. It's best to stay away from it because you don't want someone to have something happen to them and then to find out later it didn't do. So I knew the reason why I got into health insurance and insurance is because there was a contract. So if I told somebody what was going to happen and it didn't, that's not good. But I also, the job I had before I sold insurance, it was working with the elderly, getting them into assisted livings. Well, I would tell these families what the brochure said and what the company promised, but there was no real contract. So if I told them they were going to get a 3 home cooked meals a day and they ended up with bologna sandwiches once in a while, I'm like, so I quit. I said, you guys aren't doing what you promised. And I just quit. And I tell you, the last time I quit before I got an insurance, my youngest was just born. He was 3 or 4 months old, heart condition. I had 2 other kids. Wife was home, no job, nothing. But I just quit. I just said, I'm not working for you guys. You don't do what you say you're going to do. Everyone thought I was crazy, but I just had enough confidence. God, he always took care of me. He always has. And I wasn't a stupid decision. I've made stupid decisions, but this one was not. It was the right thing to do. And so I said, what, Bob, you can't start, stop careers very much longer. You got 3 kids and you got a house payment and you got, and so it took me 3 months to figure out what I could do to support the family where I wasn't going to quit, because I would go to work for people. They promised me something, I'd do it, and then it's like, hey, you're not doing what you said, and the company isn't doing what they say, and I just said I can't. So with insurance, there's a policy. If you tell them what the policy says, the insurance company has to do it. They have to, or else they'll lose in court. So Phil and I, we became knowledge experts. We're good at sales, but we became knowledgeable experts. So we never promised something that wasn't true. And so when the testimony, that's nothing compared to some of the things that's happened. But it is hard to believe sometimes. But for me,
it worked for you. It's your life. It's just your life, and that's a lot.
So hello to all of people who stayed with us. Remember me?
Wow. That's so cool.
Don't call this year, please.
They cannot host. They will not host. Find someone else to host.
Dang it. The last 5 years. Yeah. We're moving. We're moving. We don't live in Indy. We live in New York now. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Whole different house. Completely forget about it. Get over it, folks. Well, man, thank you so much, Bob. Wow, how cool! This is a great Easter episode. That was solid.
Happy Easter. Now that's a miracle.
That's a miracle right there.
Yeah.
This has been a good reminder to continue, to keep going. It's not over. Things come back. There's still life. There's still hope. Yeah. If you made it with us this far, thank you so much. Reminder, we air live on Sundays at 4 Central and on Thursdays at 7. Next Friday we are going to be. I'll be in Nashville. I'll send you the RSVP so Phil can come out to Lee McCroskey's and have a beer. And yeah, again, if you guys want to get a hold of Bob, whether you want to talk faith stuff or you want to talk about what he does for his company, healthquotesusa.com is how you can get a hold for the health insurance stuff. And then you can reach out to us and we'll try to put you in touch with Bob if you need anything else.
Maybe we should advertise.
Unless you need housing.
Huh?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we can talk about that for sure.
Yeah.
And then, but don't reach out to him if you need a place to stay this summer selling books, because they cannot take someone this year.
Well, I tell you what, though, we will host a Sunday meeting or two. We got the lake house, and just so you know, like last year when we had 13 or 14 kids on our boat, it was only 150 horse and it was a 20-year-old boat, so we only could go like 15 miles an hour, and we pulled people on a tube. But got a brand new boat, 250 horse. It can hold 13, 14 kids, and we can still go fast. We got a new float, a new tube. So I'm telling you, we'll definitely host a Sunday meeting. And if you want
a whole summer,
come on down. And if you have your best week, we always make a steak for you, or anything you want. We'll make anything. If you're a vegan, we'll make vegetables, whatever. But we will host a Sunday meeting, and we'll pay for all the food, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
That's good, but not the whole summer. But the Sunday meeting, y'all. Come on, be respectful.
Please. For my wife's sake, I want people to come. And my wife's a saint. She really is. She's amazing. I could tell you some stories about people knocking on the door, but kids who wanted to stay with us.
Listen, I understand. The one thing we talked about this on the show so many times. The one thing that Southwestern people still haven't figured out how to do is be good guests in host families' homes, because their first they leave it a mess, or it's hard on people. And so until they figure that out, it's. I understand. You don't need to explain. I totally get it, because my mom hosted for 8 summers.
Always good kids.
My mom hosted for 8 summers, and sometimes it was like, bro, come on, guys. You guys got to be better than this. Like, it was rough. So I get it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bob. Happy Easter. Actually, we'll be in touch. We can be in touch about, I'll email you. So, because if you want to see how you can sponsor us and advertise on the show, that's the whole different conversation, but we definitely would be, we only keep it to Southwestern people. So all our hosts are all book people. We had offers from other companies. We're like, no, we're going to keep it in the house. So we'd love to promote and bring the network to life. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking for what you do, because a lot of them are entrepreneurs that need what you're doing. So That'd be
Well,
great.
thank
That'd be a
you.
good fit.
Thank you, Andre.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. My name's Andres. We'll catch you on the next one on Thursday. Actually, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, crap. I forgot to mention this. Wednesday, we have Amy Brock Devine. She's going to be actually in my house here with me. We're going to be going live to talk about what she's up to. She's visiting from Thailand, and she's on a mission. So she's looking to raise funds, and it's an amazing project. They're trying to fight child trafficking. It's a whole thing. It's insane, which we're going to talk about. If you don't know who Amy is, she has a record for the most books ever sold ever by anybody, like career-wise, not in one summer, but like total ever. So she'll be here with me. And then that'll be on Wednesday, and then they'll kick our season 5 episode off. This is the end of season 4, by the way. Thank you, Bob. And season 5 kicks off with Amy, and then Jake Ozowski, Jake Osaya is going to be on Thursday. So, and then Friday is for Lee's things. We have a bunch of stuff. Keep stay on our socials so you can check it out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.